Can we get started then?
Yes, sir. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore City's October 14th, 2021 virtual hearing. My name is Nicholas Blendy, and I am the board's Deputy Executive Secretary. Just if you can turn your attention to the screen, we have a packet that we follow for these, and you can see the things that I'm about to cover for today's hearing. First of all, I'd like to introduce you all to the WebEx platform. Cisco WebEx is the online meeting platform that the City of Baltimore uses to conduct all of its virtual meetings. The Board of Estimates, the Baltimore City Council, and the Planning Department have used WebEx to hold virtual meetings since the outbreak of COVID-19. Some basics for Cisco WebEx. To fully utilize the system, members of the general public should have access to a laptop and iPad, a smartphone, or similar device with a camera and microphone capabilities. If your electronic device does not have a microphone capability, then you'll need to use the phone number provided to dial in. In order to participate in today's meeting, members of the public need to have downloaded the WebEx app through their smartphones, or they can click on the following link on the screen to access the hearing through the web browser online. You can see the link, the access code, and the password for today's hearing. We suggest that if you are going to use your smartphone, iPad, or similar device, that you have downloaded the application at least one day before today's hearing in order to ensure you have access to the program and no updates or buggy things happen. If a member of the general public does not have access to a computer, a smartphone, or a similar device, they can call in the following number below and enter the access code to listen only to the hearing. And again, you can see the phone number and the access code on the screen here. Moving forward, all materials, evidence, and related items for today's hearing docket can be found on our website. Copies of the short docket, which provides a brief description of the cases before the board, and the long docket, which includes all the materials and evidence to be presented today, is available on our website under the hyperlinks with today's date, October 14th, 2021, and you can see that link on the screen. We observe a 48-hour rule for online hearings, so any evidence that's going to be considered by the board today, you can see it in the long docket, and we were accepting evidence from any party to this hearing up until 48 hours before, which means all evidence for today's hearing must have been submitted no later than 11 a.m. on Tuesday, October 12th, 2021. Any evidence submitted to the board later than that is late and will not be considered by the board. All evidence should be submitted by email to our Assistant Executive Secretary, Ms. Stacy Russell, stacy.russell@baltimorecity.gov. And again, we're not open to the public and not accepting documents in person. The next item doesn't really apply to this docket because nothing is being amended. These are all violation hearings today. So in addition to the posting of today's docket online, all licensees were mailed a letter. They were summoned to appear before the board today. And they were all served in a timely manner according to the requirements of state law. Procedures for today's docket. I will be reading the preliminary instructions and the general ground rules for today's hearing. I will call each case in the order it's listed on the short docket. I will then ask the applicant and his or her representative to identify themselves, and if applicable, the applicant and any supporting witnesses will need to be sworn in by our court reporter, which the chairman will direct to do. The board will provide an opportunity for the licensee and his or her representative to answer the charge before that they've been alleged to have violated today. The board may ask questions of any attorney or the applicant who is here today. At the conclusion of the case today, the chairman will ask any individuals if they have any, if they wish to testify in mitigation at the mitigation portion of the hearing. If you do wish to testify, you will need to use the raise your hand feature in the bottom of the WebEx platform. It's the little hand sort of on the bottom right. When that happens, I will ask if anyone wants to be recognized. I'll acknowledge you, and you'll have to be sworn in under oath before you can testify. And we note that if you do testify, the board reserves the right to ask any questions of you, and you may be cross-examined by the licensee and or his or her counsel. And I note lastly that the board is not authorized to discuss non-case related matters today, as it's sitting in its quasi-judicial capacity and can only hear what's before it. Some general ground rules for today's hearing. Please mute yourself when you're not speaking. This is to minimize feedback and extra noise. Please identify yourself and state the spelling of your name prior to speaking so our court reporter can create an accurate record. Please speak slowly in a clear voice so that she is able to understand exactly what's being said and who's saying it. I note that this event is running live on Tram TV, and as I've already said, a court reporter is present. Individuals who use profanity or disrespectful or unruly may be expelled from today's virtual hearing. All attendees, like applicants, licensees, members of the public who wish to provide testimony during today's hearing must be sworn, as I stated. We're not taking physical evidence, and that last thing doesn't apply because this is all violations today. So there won't be any amendments. Some helpful reminders to improve today's hearing experience. Please be prepared. Read all the materials ahead of time and tested your video conferencing platform. Be in a good location, a quiet space with some good light and strong internet connection so that the board and the public can see you and hear you clearly. We ask that you please be present and not be multitasking. And above all, be patient with yourself and others. As we've already gone through today, we've already had a bit of technical difficulties, and we're more than prepared to go through some more and just do it patiently and as quickly as we can. With that said, Mr. Chairman, I have moved to the short docket on the screen, and I have confirmed that either licensee and or their counsel for every hearing is here.
All right, let's proceed then.
All right. The first item on today's docket, the licensee Prince Anand, corporate entity K Anand Incorporated, trading as the Hubcap Inn. Premises are located at 6001 Blair Road, Baltimore, Maryland, 21206. A licensee is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license holder, and is charged with one violation today stemming from an incident on July 28th, 2021, a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors. Mr. Kadensky is counsel, and I am moving him in, Mr. Chair.
Okay, good morning, Mr. Kadensky. You want to identify yourself for the record, please?
For the record, Melvin J. Kadensky, 320 North Charles Street.
Is this going to be admission or denial, Mr. Kadensky?
I want to do an admission.
Okay. Do you want to have your client testify, or are you going to proffer?
I'll proffer. He's sitting here next to me.
Okay.
In this instance here is that they had some problems in the past, I think the record indicate, but in the meantime, they had 2 or 3 times where there were people came in and they got what we used to call them good boy letters. This time was a lapse. The gentleman was not an employee that had been with him for a long time. He had fired him as a result of this because he was trying to make it perfectly clear to all his people that they have to go ahead and check everybody. And after the pandemic and things start opening up, people were coming in, and this person just didn't follow the rules, and as a result of which my client's going to have to pay the penalty here. But he has since discharged him and instructed all his employees that they are to check everybody, no matter how they look or what they think their own personal opinion is.
Okay. Do the commissioners have any questions?
No questions.
No questions.
Okay. Do we have anyone else who wishes to testify, Mr. Blendy?
If any member of the public wishes to testify on this matter before the board, please use the raise your hand feature in the WebEx platform. Mr. Chairman, I do not see anyone who wishes to testify on this matter.
Okay. All right, Mr. Kadensky, then on the basis of the materials contained in the charging documents and your client's admission of this violation, I find that the licensee did commit a violation of Rule 4.01 small a on July 28, 2021, a sale to minor. This, they've got a history of them, but some of them are old. They're back, 8-10 years, but there's a more recent one just 3 years ago. This is not a first offense. I would impose a $1,000 fine and give them 30 days to pay. Commissioners?
Yeah, based on the testimony provided today, I agree with the chair finding of a violation 41A sales to minors and the fine of $1,000.
Based upon the charging documents, the admission and the proffer from Mr. Kadinsky, I too find a violation of Rule 4.01A on July 28th, 2021, and concur with the imposition of a $1,000 fine.
Thank you, Ms. Russell.
Clinical exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Violation Report, Inspector Tudhope. Board Exhibit 2, Baltimore City Police Department Report, Detective LeBron.
All right, thank you, Mr. Kadensky.
Thank you.
I apologize, I had muted myself. That concludes this matter before the board today. Licensee and council will receive follow-up instructions via mail from this agency with instructions on how to pay the fine and the administrative fees in accordance with the board's decision. Mr. Chair, are you ready to move to the next matter?
Yes, sir.
The next item before the board today, licensees Nitin Kumar Patel and Matthew Wyman, Lavina LLC, trading as Six Packs and More. Premises are located at 6622 Belair Road, Baltimore, Maryland, 21224. Licensee is a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license holder, and their licensee is charged with one violation of the board's rules stemming from an incident on July 28th, 2021, a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors. And Mr. Boozer is counsel on this case, Mr. Chair. He is in the room.
All right, would you identify yourself? I didn't hear you, Mr. Boozer, I'm sorry.
I said, good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, would you identify yourself for the record, please?
Frank Boozer on behalf of Lavini LLC. We'll be proceeding by an admission in speaking in mitigation.
You may proceed, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. The licensee has held the license for basically 3 years now. At the time in question, you'll note that the report says they entered it, the investigative team at 10 p.m. on a Wednesday night. You'll also note in the board's file their hours are 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. The investigative team came in as this store was closing. Licensed Nitin Patel was on the premises and was closing up, turning off all the lights, doing some backroom stuff, and his wife often helps him out of the store. Not to blame this on his wife, but I know his wife very well. But she saw the cadets come through the door, 2 gentlemen, and close them. She thought the door was locked, and Mr. Patel had locked the door before then, so she was surprised to see people in the store a little past 10 o'clock. So this transaction somewhat caught her off guard, and unfortunately, she did serve the cadets who were under 21 years of age. I think this is an unusual circumstance. As I said, they were closing. She thought the door was closed, as they do every night at 10 o'clock. The licensee was in the back, closing the back door, turning off the lights, and he was attending to other matters in the store while his wife thought they were in fact closed. I asked you to give some consideration for that. It was an oversight, but an admission and oversight nonetheless. Unless you have any questions of my clients, Your Honor, that would be all we'd have.
Okay, the commissioners have questions?
No question.
No questions.
Do you have anyone else, Mr. Blendy?
If any member of the public wishes to be heard on this matter, please use the raise your hand feature in the WebEx platform. Excuse me, Mr. Chair. I do not see anyone who has raised their hand, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Mr. Boozer, then on the basis of the materials contained in the charging documents and your admission on behalf of your client of this, I find a violation of Rule 4.01 small a on July 28, 2021. My records show they've had this license about 5 years, and that this is a second offense. There was one in where they were found in November of 2019 for sale to minors. So I'd impose a $1,000 fine and give them 30 days to pay. Commissioners?
Yes, based on the testimony provided today, I agree with the chair's finding of violation rule 41A and a violation fine of $1,000.
Based upon the charging documents, the admission, I too find a violation of Rule 4.01A on July 28th, 2021, and concur with the imposition of a $1,000 fine.
Ms. Russell?
Michael exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, violation report, Inspector Jordan. Board Exhibit 2, Baltimore City Police Department report, Detective Gatto.
Thank you, and thank you, Mr. Boozer.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That concludes this matter before the board today. Licensee and counsel will receive follow-up instructions via mail from this agency on how to pay the fine in conjunction with the board's penalty imposed. Mr. Chairman, are you ready to move to the next matter?
I am.
The next item on today's agenda, licensee Elma McDougall, Pari Sharma, and Sunil Sharma, Sai Baba Liquors Incorporated, trading as Harford Road Liquors. Premises are located at 4627 Harford Road, Baltimore, Maryland, 21214. Licensees hold a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license. Licensees are charged with one violation of the board's rules stemming from an incident on July 28th, 2021, a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors. And Mr. Chairman, Mr. Fogelman is counsel on this case, and he has been moved into the room.
Okay. Good morning. Would you identify yourself for the record, please?
Yes, good morning, Stephen W. Fogelman. Let me start that video. I'm sorry. Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of licensees. Sunil Sharma is here with me today.
And is this going to be an admission or denial, Mr. Fogelman?
This is an admission, Your Honor.
Okay, you may proceed.
All right, thank you. Mr. Sharma, this is a real similar to the very last case. This violation occurred on the same date as Mr. Boozer's client, and in fact, at the same time, according to the charging documents. In this case, it says approximately 10:45. Mr. Sharma closes the shop at 10:30. So either way, he was closing up. He was exhausted. He had a long day, and he was pretty despondent with himself after being tagged with such a violation. And he obviously has partners in this business. He's also well regarded in the community. Since that date, since the 29th, he has done 100% ID check. He has regulars and neighbors that he knows well, but anybody who he doesn't recognize as a regular is always carded now. I've explained to him, he knows the significance of a violation such as this in jeopardizing the business. And I do believe he had genuinely learned from a lesson from this. So I thank you.
All right, thank you. Commissioners have questions?
No questions, Mr. Chair.
No questions.
Mr. Glenn, do we have others?
If any member of the public wishes to be heard on this matter, please use the raise your hand feature in the WebEx platform. Mr. Chairman, I do not see anyone who wishes to testify.
Thank you. Ms. Fogelman, then on the basis of the materials containing the charging documents and your admission on behalf of your client, I would find a violation of Rule 4.01 small a, sale to minor on July 28, 2021. Your client's had this license for 2 years, and this is, again, a second offense. So he's got to get this straightened out. I would impose a $1,000 fine and give him 30 days to pay. Commissioners?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, based on the testimony provided today, I agree with the chair's finding of violation Rule 401A and a fine of $1,000. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Based upon the charging document, the admission, I too find a violation of Rule 4.01A on July 28th, 2021, and concur with the imposition of a $1,000 fine.
Thank you, Mr. Fogelman.
Thank you.
Ms. you have exhibits?
Sure. Michael exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, violation report, Inspector Jordan. Board Exhibit 2, Baltimore City Police Department report, Detective Gatto.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Fogelman.
Thank you.
That concludes this matter before the board today. Licensee and council will receive follow-up correspondence via mail from this agency with instructions on how to pay the fine imposed by the board today and any fees that come with that. Mr. Chair, are you ready to move forward?
Yes.
The next matter before the board today, excuse me, licensee Rashpal Singh Gurwal, 5401 Belair Inc., trading as Garden Liquor. Premises are located at 5401 Blair Road, Baltimore, Maryland, 21206. Licensee holds a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license and is charged with one violation of the board's rules today, stemming from an incident on July 28th, 2021. And that is a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors. Licensee is here and unrepresented and representing himself and has been moved into the room. That is in the room now, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Mr. Gruhl, are
Sir,
you there?
yes,
Could you raise your right hand? We're going to have you sworn in, please.
yeah, yeah, I do.
Reporter?
Oh,
What-
I'm just waiting to see his video. Okay. Mr. Grewal, would you be able to turn your video on?
Yes.
It's at the bottom. It says start video.
Uh,
A problem?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'm gonna, he shows up a second time, so I'm gonna move the second version of him in and kick the first version out.
All right.
So you're now in under a new name, Mr. Grewal. So
yes,
can you turn your video on? Are you able to do that now?
yes.
Can you see?
I see before. Did you see it?
Not yet.
He's on. He's on. He's on the other
Oh,
side.
okay. I'm sorry. Then I'll be quiet.
Oh, okay.
Hello.
All right, let me just, okay, there we go. Please raise your right hand.
Yeah.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or under penalty of perjury?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Gruhl. You're charged with a sale violation on July 28th. Do you wish to admit or deny the violation?
Yeah, I do, but I didn't get. I take. I mean, I check always. 11 year ID. I never have. The violation. So I make a mistake this time.
Okay. Do commissioners have questions?
No questions.
No questions.
Okay, do we have other comment, Mr. Blendy?
If any member of the public wishes to testify in mitigation on this matter, please use the raise your hand feature in the WebEx platform. I do not see anyone further, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Gruhl, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, so on the basis then of the materials contained in the charging documents and your admission under oath of this violation, I find a violation of Rule 4.01 small a, sale to minor on July 28, 2021. The last time that you had a violation was 10 years ago, so I'm going to give you a bit of a break, and I'm going to impose a fine of $750 and give you 30 days to pay.
Thank you.
Commissioners?
Did we lose Commissioner Reisinger? I'll go next. Based upon the charging document and the admission, I too find a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on July 28, 2021, and concur with the imposition of a $750 fine.
you have the other commissioner?
Yeah,
Yes.
Commissioner Reisinger, you're unmuted now.
Okay, based on testimony provided today, I agree with the chair's finding a violation of Rule 401A, sale to minor, and also the violation fine of $750.
Thank you. Ms. Russell?
Title exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Violation Report, Inspector Ted Hope. Board Exhibit 2, Baltimore City Police Department Report, Detective LeBron.
Thank you. Mr. Gruhl, do you understand? Thank
Yes,
you.
yes,
All
thank you.
That concludes this matter before the board today. Licensee will receive follow-up instructions from this agency via mail on how to pay the fine imposed by the board and any fees that come with it. Let me do a bit of housekeeping with the multiple attendees, Mr. Chairman. Okay, are you ready to proceed to the next matter?
We are. Thank you.
The next item on today's docket, licensee Thomas Long and Meyer Savalia, 7207 Harford Road Incorporated, trading as Miller's Deli. Premises are located at 7205 to 07 Harford Road, Baltimore, Maryland, 21224. Licensee holds a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license and is charged with one violation of the board's rules stemming from an incident on July 28th, 2021, and that is a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors. Mr. Kadensky is counsel on this case and is now back in the room, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Good morning again, Mr. Kadensky. You want to identify yourself, please?
For the record, Melvin J. Kadensky, 320 North Charles Street, representing the licensees. The one, Mr. Sevilla, is here in my office to my right, I guess, your left.
Will this be an admission or denial, Mr. Kadensky?
This would be an admission.
Okay, please proceed.
This is in place, they've been licensees for 2 years, never had any violations. I think this was a momentary lapse with this employee. Employee had been there off and on for a while, came back and was working there. He has since told all his employees, and actually he's having this employee retrain for alcohol awareness to card everybody that comes in there, regardless of their looks and what they feel about it. I don't think that this is going to be a situation that you're going to see occur with regard to this location.
Thank you. Do commissioners have any questions?
No questions.
No questions.
Other testimony, Mr. Blendy?
If any member of the public wishes to testify on this matter in mitigation, please use the raise your hand feature in the WebEx platform. I do see Mr. Grewal, but I don't know that he actually intends to. Let me ask him. Mr. Grewal, your hand is still raised. Do you wish to testify on this, or is that just leftovers?
I think that's just leftover.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Yeah,
Thank you. No
Okay.
further members of the public, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. On the basis then of the materials contained, the charging documents, and the admission entered by Mr. Kadensky on behalf of his client, I find a violation of Rule 4.01 small a, sale to minor on July 28, 2021. It's the first offense for this licensee. I'd impose a $500 fine and give him 30 days to pay. Commissioners?
Yes, Mr. Chair, based on the testimony provided today, I agree with the chair's finding a violation of rule number 401A and a fine of $500.
Based upon the charging document, the admission, I too find a violation of Rule 4.01A on July 28, 2021, and concur with the imposition of a $500 fine.
Thank you, Ms. Russell.
Title exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Violation Report, Inspector Ted Hope. Board Exhibit 2, Baltimore City Police Department Report, Detective Gatto.
Thank you, and thank you, Mr. Kadensky.
Thank you.
That concludes this matter before the board today. Licensee and counsel will receive follow-up instructions via U.S. mail from this agency on how to pay the fine and any fees imposed by the board today. Mr. Chairman, are you ready to move to the next matter?
Yes.
The next matter before the board today, licensees Yoon Jae Lee, Bu Sup Yoon and Jung Hui Yoon, Yoon Incorporated, trading as Park Lane Cut Rate Liquors. 40 premises are located at 4416 to 18 Park Heights Avenue, Baltimore, Maryland 21225. Licensees hold a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license and are charged with violating one rule of the board from an incident stemming from August 26, 2021, and that is a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors. A licensee, Bu Yoon, and I apologize if I've mispronounced your name, is unrepresented and has been moved into the panel.
Okay. Mr. Is it Yoon?
Yes, sir.
Would you raise your right hand and ask that Madam Reporter to swear you in, please?
And you'll have to use at the bottom, there should be a start video button. You'll have to turn on your video, Mr. Yoon.
Start video. Oops.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or under penalty of perjury?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Yoon. Do you wish to admit or deny the violation?
Admit.
Can't hear you, sir. Did we lose him? Are you still there, Mr. Yoon?
Yes. Can you hear us?
Yes. Does he admit or deny?
Admission.
Okay. Do you want to tell us what happened?
So my name is James Park. I'm actually their in-law, son, and they're, it's just a simple, they made a mistake. They realized that there's no going about, trying to explain what happened. You know, everybody's tired. That's just the way life of, in your own business. So they do admit it. They have been a lot more alert, attentive when it comes to minor age serving and checking the ID on a consistent basis, even though sometimes they do kind of get, repetitive and whatnot, but they do understand what they did, and they will try to do their best going forward not to have this kind of matter ever again.
All right. Thank you. The commissioners have questions?
No questions.
No questions.
Do we have any others who wish to testify, Mr. Blendy?
If any member of the public wishes to testify on this matter, please use the raise your hand feature in the WebEx platform. Mr. Chairman, I do not see anyone who wishes to testify.
All right. On the basis then of the materials contained in the charging documents and the licensee's admission of the violation, I find a violation of Rule 4.01 small a, sale to minor, on August 26, 2021. They've had this license for like 25 or more years, and every several years they get caught doing this. So they need to be more attentive, but it's been a while. So I'll impose a $1,000 fine and give them 30 days to pay. Commissioners?
Yes, based on the testimony provided today, I agree with the chair's finding of violation of Rule 41A, sale to minors, and also a violation fine of $1,000.
Based upon the charging document, the admission from the licensee, I too find a violation of Rule 4.01A on August 26, 2021, and concur with the imposition of a $1,000 fine.
Thank you. Ms. Russell?
Like exhibits for the record, Board Exhibit 1, Violation Report, Agent Hahn. Board Exhibit 2, Baltimore City Police Department Report, Detective Gatto.
Thank you. Mr. Young, does he understand, sir?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Ms. Baranowski, do you need the spelling of the gentleman?
Yes, please, just to make sure.
Yeah. Could you spell your name, sir?
Y-U-N.
No, the gentleman who testified.
Yeah.
First name James, James. Last name Park, Park.
Okay. Yeah, and I had actually only sworn in Mr. Young.
Yeah, I was allowing him to act as his
Okay.
attorney. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Then that concludes this matter before the board. Licensees will receive follow-up instructions on how to pay the fine imposed by the board today and any fees that come with it via U.S. mail. Thank you. Mr. Chair, are you ready to move to the next matter?
Yes, sir.
Give me a minute for housekeeping. Who's there we go. Sorry about that, Mr. Chairman. All right. The next matter before the board today, licensees Adnan Murad and Allison Marie Pachelis, Pimlico Bar and Liquor LLC, trading as Pimlico Bar and Liquor. Premises are located at 5117 Park Heights Avenue, Baltimore, Maryland, 21215. Licensees hold a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license and are charged with one violation of the board's rules stemming from an incident on August 26, 2021, and that is a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors. Mr. Kadensky is counsel on the case and is in the room, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Kadensky, would you once again identify yourself, please?
For the record, Melvin J. Kadensky, 320 North Charles Street, representing licensees.
Thank you. Is this an admission or denial, sir?
This will be an admission.
Okay, please proceed.
This is much the same as some of the other ones. This licensee has been a licensee for several years, has no violations. And I think the problem a lot of these people are having in the business is trying to get competent employees, because it seems like nobody wants to work anymore, except for us, present company accepted. And in this particular instance, this employee was told and going to have them re-educated, explain, the consequences that's happening here, and hopefully you won't see them come before the board again.
Okay. The commissioners have any questions?
No questions.
No questions.
Okay. Do we have public comment, Mr. Blendy?
If any member of the public wishes to be heard on this matter, please use the raise your hand feature in the WebEx platform. Mr. Chairman, I do not see any member of the public who wishes to testify.
All right. On the basis of the materials contained in the charging documents and the admission entered on behalf of the licensees by their counsel, I find a violation of Rule 4.01 small a, sale to minor, on August 26, 2021. And while I'm somewhat sympathetic to the problems with retaining qualified employees these days, we still have to deal with these violations. So it's a first offense. I'd impose a $500 fine. I would give them 30 days to pay. Commissioners?
Yes, based on the testimony provided today, I agree with the chair's finding a violation of rule number 401A, sale to minors, and support the violation fine of $500.
Based upon the charging document, the admission, I too find a violation of Rule 4.01A on August 26, 2021, and concur with the imposition of a $500 fine.
Thank you. Ms. Russell?
Like all exhibits for the record, Board Exhibit 1, Investigation Report, Agent Hahn. Board Exhibit 2, Baltimore City Police Department Report, Detective Gatto.
Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Kadensky.
Thank you.
Oh, and Mr. Kadensky, was that Mr. Murad with you?
Yes, it's nice that you asked. He is here.
It was Mr. Murad with you, Mr. Kadensky? Sorry,
Don,
I can't hear.
Mr. Don Murad.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
That concludes this matter before the board. Licensee and counsel will receive follow-up instructions via mail on how to pay the fine and any fees that were imposed by the board today. Mr. Chairman, are you ready for the next matter?
Yes.
Indulge me in a bit of housekeeping. Send Mr. Kadensky on his way. The next matter before the board is licensee Soon-Si Jin, H&S Incorporated, trading as Pepper's Liquors. Premises are located at 5440 Reisterstown Road, 21215. Licensee He holds a reissued Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license, which is subject to sections of Alcoholic Beverages Article 12-905 G, and is charged with one violation of the board's rules, and that is stemming from an incident on August 26, 2021, and that's a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors. Mr. Fogelman is in the room, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Yes, good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. Would you identify yourself for the record, please?
Thank you. Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of Miss Jen, who is here, along with her nephew, Jong Lee. We
Admission or denial?
also may have a caller in this matter, Minerva Eaton, president of the 4100 Hilltop Association.
That's fine. Is this an admission or denial?
This is an admission, Your Honor.
Okay. Why don't you, do you want them to testify or are you going to proffer?
I'll be happy to proffer, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
All right, thank you. Miss Jen has been a licensee at this location since 2015. Miss Jen she's ready to go out of the business. She does not want to jeopardize what is effectively her retirement money with this contract that she has to sell this establishment. Miss Jen has been the stellar member of her community, and the 4100 Hilltop Association, she's developed a long and deep collaboration with to provide food, hand sanitizer, masks to elderly residents nearby, to homeless people suffering homelessness under the JFX overpass just a few blocks away. She has donated a really impressive amount of money to the association for their funding the different initiatives that they do. And if you had a chance to look at Ms. Eaton's letter, it's very rare. I've been following the liquor board since 2007, and I can't say I've seen anything like the mutual support that this community and this licensee have exhibited. She'll be going, and she's introduced the new owners to the community, and they hope it'll continue to be a fantastic relationship going forward. She, of course, realizes that there's a price to be paid for this. Just by way of context on some of these charges she's had in the past, the only 401A charge she's ever been dealt was in 2014, just 7 years ago. She was before this board. The last two times she was before the board, I think I represented her, and these were, well, the 4.20 charge, open and operating tavern, not open at all times. She's now modified her license, so that's not even wouldn't even be a violation today. The live entertainment one, I think I remember it's almost humorous. It was an employee, and they were singing, and it was basically a rogue employee in that case. So there's really, I'd like you to focus on that 7 year ago 401A when determining the outcome of this case. I also want to mention that Your Honor.
Yes, you still there?
I'm sorry, I was interrupted. Technology. I do want to mention in this matter, Mr. Lee was horrified that he may have put his aunt's retirement fund in jeopardy. And he certainly learned a lesson as well. But I would ask you to consider all of those things, Your Honor, as you impose judgment with the commissioners. Thank you.
Before I go to the commissioners, just 2 points, Mr. Fogelman. Number one, we did receive the letter from the 4100 Hilltop Neighborhood Association, and we acknowledge the solid support that they provide to your client. As to the sale to minor, I believe our records indicate it was 2019, not 2014, but I'm not sure that makes a lot of difference under the statute.
That's correct, Mr. Chairman. There's a scrivener's error on the docket, and it was 10/10/2019 is
okay.
Okay. All right. Commissioners have questions?
No questions.
No questions.
Do we have any? Well, you said that the lady from Hilltop wanted to testify. Does she want to add anything to her letter? Because we've all read it.
Right. I think she would stand on the letter.
Okay. All All right, thank you.
Yes,
Go ahead. If she's going to testify, we have to swear her in. Are you there?
yes,
Okay. Do you want to be sworn?
yes.
Okay.
Sorry, I was on mute, Mr. Chairman.
Can we get the reporter to swear her?
Is she on the phone? And not...
She's
Yes, I'm on the
on
phone.
twice. She has a technology. So if you're using a smartphone or something, there should be a start video button. But I have you both via the phone and via some computer. It seems.
Yes, I have both going. There we are. Oh, where did you put it?
Okay. Please raise your right hand. Thank you.
Me too.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony? Oh, and who was with you? Actually, I'll be. Okay. Would I?
This is Crystal Turner. She is the recipient of. Go on.
Okay. Sorry. Would I actually be able to get the spellings of your names first before I swear you in?
Okay. Minerva Eaton, Minerva Eaton.
And
Okay,
Crystal
and
Turner, Krystalturner.
Okay. All right. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or under penalty of perjury? And please state your name
Yes.
before your response.
Minerva Eaton, yes.
Crystal Turner, yes.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Eaton, did you want to add something to what you put in your letter?
Yes. What was president this year, well, started last year, was the Peppers establishment being the first responders to the Hilltop community with over 300 boxes of masks. And Hilltop 4100 is such a unique community in that it comprises mostly of senior homeowners. And as you can recall, during the pandemic, everyone was so afraid to come out, even to go to the doctor. And Miss June called me and said, meet me because I have something for you. And we met. And I just could not believe it was just so overwhelming to me to have all these boxes of masks. So the majority of my community received an entire box, which had at least 50 masks for each person. And we were just so overjoyed. Then again, this year with the pandemic continuing, they donated over 200 more boxes for the community. They have really, really worked hard. We have such a bond of an excellent relationship with the community and the business. And this is just not happening. We've really been together for at least 10 years. I started into Hilltop 4100 in 2006. And then, well, I was secretary then, and then in 2013, I became president. But we've had a special relationship. Now, what really, really was the heart of it was when we had an initiative to donate to a family in our community. And of course, you know, we could have had hundreds and hundreds of families. But I selected this young lady because her father, who is elderly, he's a member of Hilltop 4100, Mr. Robert Turner. And I donated, Pepper's establishment donated $500 to this family. I was almost in tears. And this happened during our Back to School Festival, which was August the 7th of this year. And I would like for Crystal Turner to tell you more.
Hello, my name is Crystal Turner. I am the recipient of the money, the $500. I wanted to first say that I'm very grateful for the money that they have given me. It was very helpful towards me and my dad and helped me take care of things such as my child, getting her health care and getting her things organized to and from the doctor's appointment.
Oh, you're fading out.
So I just wanted to say that I'm greatly appreciative of everything that they've done for me, and I'm greatly appreciative of everything for the community and also how they've been gracious enough to help my dad donate that he needs, food, dinners, and things.
I would like to say one more thing too. With Steppers, they invited me to one of their pop-up giveaways, meal giveaways, and I was just so impressed when we went to Pennsylvania and North. And I worked alongside Mrs. Hogan, and she and I just yelled, and she told me anything that I needed to let her know, and asked if Hilltop, and she said she was going to come and visit us one day. But you can't have a better business in your area. I don't know of any other business that has stepped forward to help Hilltop 4100, even before the pandemic. So I wish other communities would get involved and other businesses will get involved with the community association.
I've lived around here for 25 years. I'm 25, I'll be 26 in January. I've lived around here for 25 years, and that is the only one my whole time that I've been at the food festival personally as personal items.
Oh, it's fading out.
She's been doing a lot in the community ever since I was a little girl. So to still see her still participating in the community is really a great thing.
So we would hope that the commissioners, because of the tremendous support and partnership with Hilltop, especially during the pandemic, I would like to say how much they have supported and to really take into consideration as you vote for either suspend or to revoke, not to suspend or to revoke the license of Pepper's Liquor Store. Thank you.
All right, thank you, ladies. We appreciate your testimony. All right, anything further, Ms. Fogelman?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
On the basis that in the materials contained in the charging documents and the admission by counsel on behalf of his client of a violation of Rule 4.01 small a, I find a violation of that rule, sale to minor, on August 26, 2021. We have to acknowledge and commend the licensee for its tremendous support of the community and for all the good work it's done in the community and for the support that it's received from the Hilltop Association. Of course, we're constrained by the statute. I think you understand, Mr. Fogelman. It's a second offense, which requires us to impose either suspension or revocation. So in light of the good record and the fact that they're moving out of this ownership over time, I would impose a one-day suspension, and I would start it this afternoon and let them have it back tomorrow afternoon so that it doesn't impair the weekend entirely. And see if the commissioners agree with me. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, based on the testimony provided today, I agree with the chair's finding of a violation of rule number 401A. And I also agree with the chair to suspend the license for 1 day.
Based upon the charging document, the admission, the testimony from Ms. Turner and Ms. Eaton, I too find a violation of Rule 4.01A on August 26, 2021. I commend the licensee for all of their good work in the community and concur with the imposition of a 1-day suspension.
I thank you, Ms. Russell.
Medical exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, violation report, Agent Hahn. Board Exhibit 2, Baltimore City Police Department report, Detective Gatto. Board Exhibit 3, 3 photos. And Board Exhibit 4, letter from Hilltop 4100 Neighborhood Association, dated October 11th, 2021, in support.
Commissioners,
you.
may I ask a point of clarity on your penalty? I heard the chairman impose it today to tomorrow, but the other commissioners just imposed a 1 day. And so I want to be certain that we carry out the wishes of the board. Did all commissioners agree that it should happen today and be returned tomorrow?
Yes, I agree. So today and start open tomorrow.
I concur with that.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners.
Thank you.
That concludes this matter before the board. Licensee will be visited by a Board of Liquor License for Baltimore City inspector today to impose the 1 day suspension as ordered by the board and receive follow-up information and correspondence via mail. Mr. Chairman, are you ready for me to move to the next matter?
Yes.
The final item on today's docket is licensee Sharice M. Haywood and Parminder Singh, Gurjas LLC, trading as Fayette Liquor Plus. Premises are located at 1434 East Fayette Street, Baltimore, Maryland, 21231. Licensee hold a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license and are charged with 2 violations of the board's rules stemming from the same incident on July 7th, 2021. That is a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors, and a violation of Rule 3.03C, records. Licensees are represented by Mr. Boozer, who has been moved back into the room, Mr. Chairman.
Would you identify yourself again, please, counsel?
Good afternoon again, Your Honor. Frank Boozer on behalf of the licensees. This will be an admission as to 4.01 and contesting 3.03. My client's daughter would be speaking on behalf of my client, who was also present in the office, if you want to swear them now.
Okay, and who's going to testify on behalf of the board as to the record violation?
Inspector Robinson, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, well, let's swear Inspector
And
Robinson.
actually,
I'll testify to the employee records.
Okay, then Chief Chrisomalis, Inspector Robinson as well, Mr. Chairman.
Let's swear everybody in then.
Inspector Robinson, I do.
Oh, wait, I just need to see the other people. I just don't see them on video.
I'll turn my laptop around right now. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And would I be able to get the names of the 2 people being sworn with you, Mr. Boozer?
Yeah, my name is Jocelyn Carr. That's spelled Jasleen. Last name Carr, Kaur. And my mom's name is Manjit. That's spelled Manjit. Last name Kaur.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Please raise your right hand. And that includes Detective Robinson and Chief Chrisomalis. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or under penalty of perjury? And please state your name before your response.
I do, Chief Chrisomalis.
Inspector Walter Robinson, I do.
Jocelyn Carr, I do.
Okay,
so
thank you.
Boozer, did you want to add anything on the 401A violation?
I think I can take care of that as part of a 3.03. Not anything substantive, but I would note that they've been in business 5 years, and this is, by my record keeping, their first violation of any kind.
All right. Well, let me hear from our people about the record violation then. Chief.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. So we've been to this establishment 3 separate times. Every time we've been there, we were notified by the Southeast District that there's an individual working in the establishment that has gotten into several physical altercations with customers. Every time they go, the individual refuses to show ID. They called us to see if we can pull his ID from the employee records. We've gone there 3 times. I've personally caught that individual in the store all 3 times. Every time I ask for employee records, they do not have him on the employee records. Every time I ask him for ID, he says he does not have his ID and refuses to give it. One other time when we went in, he actually ran out the back door. This individual continues to work in the establishment. We've given him numerous warnings to identify this individual and have him in employee records, and they continue to refuse to do so.
Mr. Boozer, you have questions for the chief?
Chief, just a few questions. You said you've been there on multiple occasions. They produced records for you?
No, sir, not for that individual.
So they produced records, but not that individual, correct?
No, they didn't produce records because they said that it's a husband and wife, which we won't require employee records for the owners. This individual, the female, I believe it was the wife or the cousin, stated that he worked there, has been there every time I've been there, and that's the individual that they will not provide records for.
No questions.
Okay. Inspector Robinson, do you have anything to add to what the chief has said?
No, I do not.
Okay. Do you want to present testimony, Mr. Boozer?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Carr, if you would explain the situation to His Honor.
Yeah, so the person who comes in and out of the store does not work at the store. He's a homeless man, comes to the store and he starts altercations. And we tried to kick him out and stuff. And sometimes he tries to clean up like the store and assumes like and says he works there, but he doesn't work there. We do not pay him. He's not on the employee records for that reason too.
That's not the individual. That's not the individual, Your Honor, that we're referring to. That individual was there the night of the underage buy. It's another individual that they have all stated that works there.
But I'm not sure if it's a proper question on cross-examination, Your Honor, but how are we supposed to know what individual they're referring to?
That's a good question, Counselor, because
my clients coming here, me reviewing the documents and the charging documents, and the statements of the officers, we thought they were talking about the homeless guy who hangs around the store. I mean, you know of no other person who hangs around the store, correct?
Yes.
So in a sense, we were refuting that there's a phantom other person, and she's directly addressed in her testimony this homeless gentleman that constantly hangs around the store, and they try to get rid of.
Well, Mr.
How are you
Boozer,
supposed to refute a phantom individual?
but that's not the testimony I heard. What I heard is that the chief goes there several times, identifies someone he wants to see records for, and they say that they are not going to show them. So they're having these conversations. They know what one another is talking about. What's going on? What's the problem?
Ms. Carr, if you would explain.
I'm not quite sure. There's just a person who hangs around the store. He assumes that he works there. Is homeless, and we try to kick him out, but you know, the area is not the nicest area, so it's hard to keep a track of the individuals who loiter and stuff. And
Continue.
And he doesn't work here.
Well, that's not answering my question, but thank you. Okay, do you have anything else?
If I might follow up on your question, Your Honor. Who are the employees of the store, Ms. Carr? Just your parents, correct?
Yes.
There are no other employees that you pay wages to or other kind of compensation, payment in kind whatsoever, correct?
My brother works there from time to time too, and he's on the records too.
But other than your immediate family members, there are no other employees of the store whatsoever, correct?
Correct.
By payment of not only cash, but some other favor or goods or in return. Is that correct?
Yes.
So, Mr. Boozer, the cousin that works there, sometimes that works security, that I have seen behind the counter and also stock sometimes. He doesn't exist. I have video of him. So he doesn't exist.
I believe it's the brother you're referring to.
Is it the brother Gurjot Singh?
One gentleman that works security there that we have multiple times tried to identify.
So
He's not the
saying
homeless
that-
guy. He's not a homeless
I'm
guy.
just trying to get to the root of the problem and identify the person you're talking about. Is the person you're talking about a supposed security guard?
They said that your client that's in this hearing stated that he helps out, he works here sometimes, and sometimes he works security. That's what was told to me.
Who told you that?
Your client.
So, Mr. Chairman, I do note that that Agent Perez has raised his hand. He may have something to add to this matter because he has raised his hand, Mr. Chairman.
So let's swear him in.
Agent Perez. If you can just turn on your video.
It's coming through.
Okay. Okay. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or under penalty of perjury?
I do.
Thank you.
Did you have something to add, Mr. Agent Perez? Are you there? Guess he's not here.
Yes, sir. The date of service September the 30th. I visited this location, served the summons. Can you hear me?
Sort of. It's breaking up.
It's breaking up.
I'm here.
Yeah, he appears to have a poor connection.
I don't know if that's going to work. Here's the problem I have, Mr. Boozer. We issue a license to these folks, and they're supposed to cooperate with our people, and we're trying to get a simple question answered about someone who apparently works there part-time, and we're getting stonewalled. So what's the problem?
Their testimony is clear that the family works there and that there are no other employees.
But why didn't they tell that to our inspectors when they go there and they ask them for the records?
My client would refute what the inspector says. She said she never told the inspector that there's some other employee. They have no one who works security. They have no security guard.
I'm just asking why we have this conflict. It doesn't make sense to me, but it's going to come down to a credibility issue, so that's fine. Is there anything further?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay. Commissioners have anything else?
No questions.
No questions.
All right. Mr. Boozer, on the basis of the materials contained in the charging documents, your admission on behalf of your client of the Rule 4.01A violation and the testimony received with respect to the Rule 3.03C violation, I find the violation of Rule 4.01 small a on July 7, 2021. I also find a violation of Rule 3.03.C records on July 7, 2021. This is the first offense. These are both first offenses. As to the first violation, I'd impose a $500 fine and give them 30 days to pay. As the second, I'm going to add a $100 fine. I don't understand what's going on, but they need to work with us. They need to clarify the situation with our people. It's not our job to play games with them. So if it comes back again, it's going to be worse. Commissioner?
I understand, Your Honor, completely.
Commissioners?
Yeah, based on the testimony provided today, I agree with the chair's finding of violation of Rule 401A, sale to minors for $500, and also violation 303 for records of $100.
Based upon the charging document, the admission on Rule 4.01A, and the testimony on Rule 3.03C, I find a violation of Rule 4.01A on July 7, 2021, concur with the imposition of a $500 fine, find a violation of Rule 3.03C, and concur with the imposition of a $100 fine.
Ms. Russell?
I call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, violation report, Inspector Robinson. Board Exhibit 2, Baltimore City Police Department report, Detective Gatto.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Boozer.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a nice weekend.
You too.
That concludes this matter before the board. Licensee and counsel will receive follow-up instructions on how to pay the fines imposed by the board today and any incidental administrative fees that come along with that. That, I believe, Mr. Chairman, concludes all business before the board today.
That's fine. You want to read the adjournment, please?
Yes, sir. The board will be in recess until Thursday, October 21st, 2021. The board has already posted on its website and will be providing notice to applicants and attorneys and conducting a virtual hearing on this date. Please call our office at 410-396-4377 between 8:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. with any questions or concerns that you have on these matters or any other. That's all we have for you and the commissioners, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Blendy. Thank you to the commissioners. Thank you to our staff who always do a great job. And thank you to all the participants today. And that will conclude our hearing for this morning. We'll see you in a week. Thank you.
Off the record.